Road. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We'll call the Special General Purposes Committee meeting to order. May I have a motion on the minutes? Moved and seconded. Any errors or omissions? All those in favor, opposed, carried. So we've got the one item of business support for the nonprofit organizations providing meals, et cetera. Why don't we have staff come forward? In my estimation, a very, very complete report of not only where we've been, but where we could go. Is there anything to add to your report?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There's nothing that we would like to add to the report.
Okay. So, all right, we'll just go straight to comments and questions. Councillor Day.
Yeah, thank you very much. Excellent report. I mean, you guys thought of everything we didn't think of, so thank you for that. The HSS grants, the health, social, and safety grants, were exhausted, and then we found extra money. Is it necessary to kind of break the funding up for things like outreach services from the other things that are in the health, social, and safety grant criteria?
Through the mayor to Councillor Day, we've broken up the, in terms of the criteria, that would be part of the health, social, and safety grant review that staff will be recommending to look into ways that we can make it more efficient. Yeah. And staff will be bringing forward the report before the next intake period for council's consideration.
Okay, I think that might be a good idea, because as I was doing a little bit of research, I discovered that while food services are definitely mentioned in this a lot, I believe that the organizations that we're giving money to also provide wraparound services in terms of, spiritual and holistic help, even getting unhoused people to other shelters in other cities. So they provide transportation for people and food. And they also actually provide better security for the city of Richmond and the people of Richmond by reaching out to them and making sure. So I'm really pleased to support this, because I think that if we can support the organizations that are supporting the most desperate people in our community, it's going to be better for everyone. And I was wondering, previously, I know from the report that we had given, St. Albans had asked for $50,000 and we gave them $38,000. So we're making the last 12 available to them. And then Pathways asked for $60,000 and got $34,000. So we're giving them the balance of that as well. Is there a way to kind of, put that to the future so that we can cover some of the wraparound services that they provide, and maybe if it's not just a food program, get them to be aware that funding is available for, things like, getting people to medical appointments and detox and that sort of thing.
Through your worship to Councillor Day, that would be a component of the work that would be done to assess the information that's provided to applicants in advance as far as what's eligible. As far as the recommendations before you today, these are one-time recommendations for 2024 only, and staff would work with the organizations on their 2025 HSS grant applications to ensure they were aware of everything that was eligible.
Thank you. Would we also be able to provide to them information about how they can get federal and provincial funding? Because I'm sure there's other pots of money, for these sort of services other than just the city, right?
Through your worship to Councillor Day, when staff become aware of additional funding opportunities from senior levels of government or other organizations, we do forward those on to our contacts in the community.
Okay, all of these and others included. Thank you. Great job.
Councillor Hobbs.
Thanks, and through the chair. Well, I want to echo some of the comments Councillor Day just made. I do really appreciate the quick turnaround on the report, and I think the thoroughness of the analysis and the recommendations you made. I will be supporting them. And I think going forward, the long-term review and the assistance that you mentioned in the report that we'll be able to provide to different organizations, not just the Church on 5, because there's quite a few. And I'm glad that you've emphasized verbally here what it says on the report, that these are one-time funding allotments for now, but the review will continue and other options and advocacy work will happen. And I think the really important part of it too is continuing to advocate to the provincial government and the federal government for funds in this area, because A lot of things have changed from 1970 and even in the last couple of years. And so it's going to be a continual issue, and a lot of pressures are going to build. And the city, obviously, every city could benefit a lot from the assistance of the provincial government and the feds. And they have offered in the past, but it has to be sustainable funding that's predictable for budgets, so we can continue to help people. So the bottom line is just thank you very much for the report. It was a quick turnaround, and I think it was a better product that we got than our discussions last week, which were good discussions, but this really helped a lot. Thank you.
Councillor Glanders.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you to staff, yes, I echo. Thanks for the great report. I really appreciate all the background information and the recommendations. I was just curious, I don't have the old grant list with me, but of the organizations that applied for the HSS grants this year, are these three the only that didn't get what they asked for?
Through the chair to Councillor Glanders, Pathways Clubhouse and St. Albans Anglican Church are the only two organizations that did not receive full funding for homelessness and or food security related initiatives in 2024.
Okay, that makes sense. And I've had some questions from people about the HSS grants that missed their opportunity last year that didn't know about it. And I think is it around September that they apply, so I can let them know?
Through the chair to Councillor Glanders, the intake period is usually in mid-September, and it's posted on the city's website. And there's usually a news release that gets issued out prior to that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to point out, and my hat's off to your staff, Serena. We put a lot of pressure on the social policy side of planning the last little while, and you've come through every time on a fast turnaround. And I can tell you from my point of view, it's so appreciated that this is happening. So yes, we do get critical at times, but you've always come to the plate. You've always come to us with a solution. So I want to thank you very much for that, which you've done once again. We're not interested in funding failure. We certainly want to make sure that everyone that we can deal with becomes a success. And I think it's great to see that. I can tell you right now, I really like the fourth recommendation, the letter to senior governments, because I can tell you the ineptness of those levels of government to deal with such a critical issue that is within their portfolio is very telling. We have stepped up as a local government to fill the void, but we've got to put that continual pressure to deal with their ineptness and point it out continually. So again, thank you very much.
Councillor McNulty.
Yeah, thanks very much. Thanks very much, Worship, and thank you to staff. I knew you would come through, and then under pressure, and you've done a great job, and greatly appreciated. I guess I have a couple of comments to make, Your Worship, on this, and I appreciate the one-time funding for 2024 and the review, but I don't believe the plan is sustainable beyond 2024. I know we're going to review it and what have you. The situation will incrementally get worse. It's not going to get better, okay? Anytime we think it may get better, it's not. So we've done, around the table, thank you very much, platitudes are out there. But I really believe there needs to be an aggressive lobby to the provincial federal government. We're picking up all the pieces, and not just this area, we're picking it up everywhere. And I think it's important. And I think literally we need to be applying for 2025 and a plan. I think Richmond needs a plan of how far it can go as a community. You know, we've got a nice plan on the floor, thank you, okay, great stuff, but how far we can go 2025, 26, 27. The refugees are still coming, the immigrants are still coming, the homeless are still here, they're not going away, and there are more of them. So I guess, you know, I'm happy with what we've got, Your Worship, I'm going to support it, but I think we need to actively start looking already 6 months down the road to plan January 1, 2025. We need to flood the MLAs and MPs to say, hey, look, you better get your act together. You know, we got an election coming up in October, okay? We got another election coming up in the spring, okay, with our other levels of government. Not that I want to make food security, homelessness, et cetera, an election issue, but I think we got to push them. 9 of us around the table have pushed. Copious members of staff have pushed. Where are they? That's all I ask. Where are they? Don't see them here. Okay? And to the organizations, you got to start being aggressive now. And I think that's just my comment, Your Worship. Yes, it's great. We've done your person's task on it, and I can't say enough about it. But what's the discussion January 2nd, 2025? Thank you.
All right, Councillor Howe.
Yes, Your Worship. Actually, I just want to follow up with what Councillor Maloney has said. Now, I read the report, it's a good report. I support the recommendation, but I think I got a feeling something is missing or someone is missing. Now, what is the role of the Richmond Health Department in this whole initiative, like food security, homelessness, people? I remember that when I was working for a health department, we were involved quite a lot in terms of even the poverty reduction task force. The health department was part of it. The food security coalition, the health department was part of it. But when I read these reports, probably, they doesn't seem to be present. So I'm just puzzled, what has been the involvement of the local health department, and, what kind of connections we have made or get them involved.
Through Your Worship to Councillor Au, this report specifically did focus on the not-for-profit organizations that were receiving the health, social, and safety grants, and so didn't elaborate on the relationships that staff have with Vancouver Coastal Health, as well as many of the service providers and not-for-profit organizations in the community. Vancouver Coastal Health services with regards to homelessness are often tied very closely to physical health, mental health, and substance use. And so there are very close collaborations between both city staff and programs such as the ones we're talking about today to collaborate and support the community as a whole. With regards to food security, again, that's not directly tied to Vancouver Coastal Health's mandate, although they do support various other initiatives and use those as tools to engage with members of the community that may be more vulnerable.
Okay, good.
Okay, thanks to both of you and thanks to your staff. I just want to reflect what's been mentioned a couple times. We could have made a motion last week, but I think by having taken this week and making you work so hard on this, it puts everything into context and it makes a much more, it strengthens the report immeasurably. So with that, so that's moved.
Recommendation.
So it's moved and seconded. Any further comments? Councillor Wolf? Yep.
I was just are you going to call if there's anyone from the public who'd like to speak to this?
No.
Oh.
No, we've got a motion on the floor. With that, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. So for those of you who are interested in this, this will be added to the open agenda meeting at the council meeting tonight at 7 o'clock. All right, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, we're now adjourned.